So welcome to the final stop on today's showcase train. This is migrating to electronic inspection forms. So I know many of you in the public works sector are involved with asset inspections. What can be done to improve the workflow or to make things more efficient? What can flip the switch to go from paper-based forms to electronic forms? If that light bulb is now glowing, here's how we can go from paper to digital. It starts out with getting everybody on the same page and having a detailed plan. Once you organize your records, you can choose how to collect the data electronically. Finally, you manage your data and use the information to make data-driven decisions. Today, we will further dive into each of these steps and provide a demonstration of the software used for electronic inspection forms. So at the beginning of the project, you want to get everybody on the same team, the A team. When you determine who in your department or organization should be involved and you assemble the team, you may ask a few questions. What do you want to get from the data? When to repair or replace the asset? What are the costs involved? And how many people need to be involved? How many devices? How many resources? So the next step is to have a plan. And everybody loves when a plan comes together. Make decisions on what you want to collect, how to set up the form, and how you plan to use the data. What roles will the members of your team play? Have a timeline for the project and get your team trained on the process. There will be change, and that might be easier for some and more difficult for others, but it's important to invest in training. So moving on to organizing your existing records. If you have GIS staff, involve them early in this process. In fact, you may want to include them when you put your A team together. Determine how you're going to use the content of your paper forms when you build your electronic forms. Consider industry standards for inspections. For the existing records, do you need assistance from a document scanning company to convert these records to digital form, or can you cover that task? So here's a paper form that you may be familiar with, something like this. It's kind of hard to read. You could be at the mercy of the inspector's handwriting. So you have stacks and stacks of these paper records. Some you cannot decipher the handwriting, and maybe some records got destroyed in a flood or a fire or a tornado or some type of disaster. How do we get an improved, more efficient method for inspection forms? And the survey says it's ArcGIS Survey123. And as you can see, this table will compare the functionality between Survey123 and Collector. Collector, of course, is map-centric. Survey123 is form-centric, but it has geolocation capabilities. Survey123 can be used with other ArcGIS apps, as we've talked about today. Collector, Workforce, we've seen them embedded in dashboards and hub sites. I'm going to show an example of cross-platform functionality with Collector later on in this presentation. So there are a few ways in which you can utilize Survey123. One is via the Survey123 website or the web designer. You can also download the Survey123 Connect desktop app. And there's also the Survey123 mobile app. So with the Survey123 website, it gives you the ability to create some pretty simple forms. With Survey123 Connect, you can create more complex forms that involve logical expressions, calculations, nested questions based on certain responses, among other options. These forms are built into a formatted Excel spreadsheet. And later on, we will take a tour of the Survey123 Connect app and the XLS form. Another important aspect of using either Connect or the Survey123 website is that it's to your ArcGIS online organization. You can use the same user login and password. Each Survey123 form is connected to a feature service that's stored in your AGO content. And this is where the form responses, once they're submitted, will be stored within that feature layer. So you've planned the content of your inspection form, you've collected the data. What is next? So you can now use that collected information to make data-driven decisions. Which assets need to be repaired or replaced now versus which are in satisfactory condition? What will the cost be? And with your connection to the ArcGIS online organization, you have the ability to share and collaborate via web maps, web apps, and dashboards, as we've talked about this morning. So you can share that with anyone within your organization or within certain groups. Okay, Bill, now is time for the poll question.
Okay, give me 1 second here. All right. A couple answers. There we go. Oh. Okay. A lot of paper records still. Another couple seconds here. Yep. So most people responding. We'll share those. A lot of paper.
Yes, a lot of paper, a lot of need for conversion to digital. Okay. All right, I'm going to jump into the demonstration portion of this presentation, and we'll start out by taking a look behind the curtain of Survey123 Connect and the XLS form. So we have up here on the screen, we have Survey123 Connect app. So we are logged in. Notice we're logged in with our ArcGIS Online user and into our organization. In the My Survey Designs section, list any of the surveys that I have created. Our tutorials section. This is a variety of Survey123 topics, links to instructional videos, how-tos. So any questions you may have when you are creating your survey form, you can access these instructional videos and to get more information about those topics. The community tab. This is where you can find any questions or discussions from other users, read blogs from Esri or social media postings. So it's tied into the GeoNet community. So this is a good resource to have if you have any other questions. So I'm going to go back to my survey designs. I'm going to click on my culvert inspection form. So this will preview what the survey will look like, and you can choose on what type of device or monitor. So we're looking at a tablet portrait right now. We can go to a smartphone. We can do a monitor. So there's a variety of different previews that you can take a look at to see how that's going to look. The next section to look at here is the Schema Preview. It's going to show you what how your data is set up, how the feature service is set up with field names, field types, and things like that. And then you have a section for other settings. You can provide a summary and description. You can provide a certain style to your survey, changing background colors and text and things like that. You can also have, you can show link content. You can choose your base map and different zoom levels. There's also a section you can enable some other things such as an inbox. For one client, I set up an inbox for a water department cross-connection survey, and when the data collector would go out, he'd have his list from that inbox of which addresses still needed to have the survey done, and then once the survey is submitted, that record or that feature will disappear from that list, from that inbox list, or there's also a map view for that. So that is something that can be enabled as well. The next thing I'd like to do is take a look at the XLS form. So this is where the survey is built and where it's configured. The type column is what is associated with your survey questions. So you have your different survey questions, what you want to, the information that you want to find out. The name column is what is associated in the feature service, the field name in the feature service. You can also give those attributes a different name for labeling in your survey. And there are a variety of other things that you can do. You can provide a hint, a line of text to instruct the user what to do. You can constrain values and provide a message. Certain fields could be required, and you can mark that as such. You can change the appearance of certain questions if you wanted to do a drop-down list or list them all out vertically or horizontally. There's different options for providing those questions. You can provide default values. You can enter in relevant expressions to say if an answer is yes, then we want to list, we want to show this other question and what responses are possible with that question. You can perform calculations with certain with data. So there's a lot of configuration that can go on here in the Excel form when you're creating your survey. And that's just the first tab, the survey tab. There's also a choices tab, which will list your choices for drop-down lists. They're associated with the attributes in the feature service. The settings tab shows you what the ArcGIS feature service ID, what the responses of your survey, where that's going to be submitted to, and also which form or which part of that feature service is going to be involved in that submission process. So in this case, for our culvert inspection form, we're going to submit the responses to the inspection record table. There's also a types tab, an informational reference for if you have any, again, if you have any questions, you can consult this tab to get some more information about building your survey. Okay, our next step, we're going to run through an inspection workflow. And we will start out, we're going to start out with a collector map. So we're going to go into our collector map for culvert inspections. And our map has the location of some culverts. And what we're going to do, we're going to collect new, we're going to, we're going to click on an existing culvert. Let me get out of this process. Okay, we're going to click on an existing culvert. Choose that in the list. And we have some information here about our culvert. What we want to do now is add an inspection record. So I'm going to click on that. And we are going to open up Survey123. This will be a mobile. This is the mobile app, also available on Windows. So our Survey123 inspection form opens, and we're going to. It's going to default to today's date, as well as the inspector. We'll give it a structural rating. Opening rating and a scour rating. And once I enter in these ratings, the condition is going to be tied to the condition is tied to that number rating and will automatically update in the survey form. So we have a poor rating here, poor rating here. For scour rating, if I go down, I'm going to click on comments and I'm going to come back up. Poor rating. The overall rating now is poor. Is there maintenance action required? Yes. So we are going to click on, we're going to clean it. You can enter in comments. You can add a photo or another type of attachment here if you need to. I'm going to submit this survey now. We will send now. So that survey has been submitted. That data is now stored in that feature service in your ArcGIS Online organization. And our next step, our next stop on this tour will be the ArcGIS Survey123 website. So I'm going to refresh this page. And we'll just do a quick tour here of the Survey123 website. It looks similar to the content in Survey123 Connect as far as what surveys are available in my surveys. So I'm going to click into our culvert inspection survey. Your first tab is showing an overview of this of the survey form. So 13 responses, the first submitted on, last submitted on. That's it's going to give you a high-level view of your survey data. The next tab is the design. So we've already designed the survey in Survey123 Connect, but if you wanted to design a more simple survey, you can go right into this website, go to the design tab, and design your survey here. So you can enter in different types of questions here. You can change the appearance, change colors, add background images and themes and things like that. But we already have our survey. One thing I also will mention here with our Survey123 Connect, our survey was created in Connect, so it cannot be modified here in this web designer. It has to be modified back in the Connect app. The next tab is the Collaborate tab. It gives you some options for how you can share the survey, how it can be opened, who can submit to it, things like that. Can there be multiple submissions from the same user? The next tab is Analyze. So this provides you with some charts and graphics displaying characteristics of the data that you've collected in your survey. I'll scroll down to a couple here. gives you a structural rating, structural condition. So we're looking at 5 that are in poor condition. So it gives you some insights for your data, and that can help you determine what to do next, what decisions you're going to make. Okay. So the final part of the demonstration I want to go to, we're going to go into ArcGIS Online, go into our web map. So this is a similar, it's a copy of the web map that we had looked at before in the Collector app. And so we're showing our culvert locations. We have our culverts feature layer along with the inspection record table. A couple of things that I have created here are join layers between the feature layer and the table. And this is going to show us a few different aspects of the data. The first one is a layer showing months from the last inspection. So I'm going to turn that on. And each of these symbols, so the symbols that are larger have had a longer period of time since the last inspection. So in this case, this has been a few years since it's been inspected, I believe. Our last inspection was September of 2018. So the larger, so you can set this up, the larger the icon, the longer amount of time in between inspections. If it's a more recent inspection, that icon is going to be smaller. And another layer that we can do in a similar fashion is with the condition. So this shows the condition. I'll expand the layer here to show what those different condition ratings are. And we can see we have a critical situation here that we need to take care of. So you can display your data in these ways in the web map to show what needs your attention, which features, which assets need your attention based on condition or some other attribute. From this web map, and we've talked about this already, you can then create some web apps. You can create dashboards. You can pull all that information in, and then get that to the people that are the decision makers. Let them see the data, see what's going on, and then make decisions from there. So that is all I have today. Are there any questions?
Yep, we got one in here right now, Matt. And guys, if you have anything for Matt, go ahead and drop those in the chat box, or you can message him directly. Got another one pop in, but let's see. First one here, can the survey system handle uploading a picture with every survey form?
Yes, I believe so. I think you can adjust the size of the image that it's going to save. But I don't know what the upper limit is of, okay, if there's, is it 1 million photos? Is it 10,000? I don't know the upper limit to that, but each asset can have multiple attachments.
Okay. Let's see, another one here. Is there a way to have a work order generated automatically after the inspection is complete?
There is some automation that can be done through the Survey123 Connect app, and I did not touch on that, but it involves actually it's through the website. Under settings, there is a webhooks section, so you can add a webhook to trigger certain things. I know it can be set up for email notifications and things like that. So I'm not 100% sure on the work order, but I think with the way that I think it probably could be set up to trigger an action from a survey response.
Perfect. Let's see. That's it right now. So, guys, we'll go ahead and close out